We're delighted to have with us today a survivor from Iwo Jima. We're also delighted to be able to share with our community the World War II Traveling Museum Artifacts and Memorabilia. You're going to see a little bit more of that later in this recording. My name is Holly Johnson. I'm with the Granby Public Library. I'm the program coordinator, and we are excited to have with us a lot of really interesting people today at the event that we sponsored. Speaking of our sponsors, I want to give credit to the Salmon Brook Historical Society, the Friends of Granby Public Library, and the members of the American Legion Shannon Shattuck Post 182 here in Granby. So all of these organizations came together today to bring the World War II Museum to the town of Granby and the community. And we also had an excellent opportunity to meet a number of vets and current people that are serving to share in a celebration of the greatest generation. And speaking of the greatest generation, we have with us today here Joseph Richard, who is 100 years old and a survivor of Iwo Jima. And Mr. Richard, thank you for your service. Thank you for being here with us today. And I wanted to ask you right off the bat about the Purple Heart that you have, the medal you have on your cap. Would you tell us a little bit about that Purple Heart?
Well, my first Purple Heart I received on Iwo Jima, on Saipan. We had been advancing pretty good in our attack, and we got to a blockhouse, and we were firing on the blockhouse, and then it caught fire. The inside of the blockhouse caught fire. It exploded all unexpectedly, and either a piece of shrapnel or a piece of concrete, something caught my hand and ripped open this side of my hand. And I didn't see what it was that hit me, but I know I was bleeding enough to get first aid, and they escorted me to an ambulance jeep. And the ambulance jeep was a jeep that the motor pool had jury-rigged piping to receive stretchers, but I was a walking wounded. They had my arm in a sling, and they put me aboard this jeep, got me back to shore on a ship to a hospital ship. That's the story of my first Purple Heart.
Well, that sounds like you had really good care very quickly, and they took care of you. And
they did.
Excellent. That's nice. Nice to know that was there for you at the time. And then you said you sound like an overachiever, Joe. It sounds like you have two Purple Hearts. So what happened with the second Purple Heart?
Well, you don't go out and get those on purpose.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair.
It's not something. So the second one was on Iwo Jima, and I don't remember exactly, but I know we must have been near an explosion of some kind. So I ended up at the back of my hand. I had been running across an open area till I found a shell hole, and I fell in the shell hole. When I got in the shell hole, I was able to see the back of my hand, it was blood. And I'm cleaning it, and come to find out, I called a corpsman, and he saw little pieces of shrapnel spread the back of my hand here. And he was able to pull them out like you pull out a sliver. I remember that. That was the end. He put a Band-Aid on it, and that was the end of it. I was able to keep going. I wasn't wounded bad enough. So that's how I got my second Purple Heart.
And then how long did you stay in the service? I guess we should say that you were in the 4th Marine Division. Let everyone know that you're a Marine. And how long were you in the Marines?
Well, I got out of boot camp, and I went to infantry battalion, and I was in that battalion for the 3 years I was in the Marine Corps, from 1942 to 1945. all 3 years I was in the 4th Marine Division. I was always in a machine gun platoon, in a machine gun squad, and we got steady replacements all the time. But I spent my 3 years in the same outfit. Right out of boot camp, I went in right in. That was it.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about your memories of Iwo Jima or your time in the service and what that meant to you?
Well, it brought both some great memories and some people I'll never forget. Some people we lost, and some people that I visited after we got out. And when one of my buddies was killed on Iwo Jima, and when they brought his remains back here he lived from New York State. He's in a cemetery in New York State, which I try to visit every year. But we were close buddies, so we shared a lot of talk and things that you do. And that's about all I can think about.
Well, it sounds like you had some good friends
I
and
did.
some good
Well,
memories.
when you train, you drink beer together, you go on liberty together, you do a lot of things, and you share a lot of things about home, his girlfriends and my girlfriends, and all of these things. You get together on it. You get a common bond.
It's
very
a brotherhood, right?
We had a good bond. I was in the same guys for 3 years. Once I got out of boot camp, the guys I ended up with in a machine gun platoon, those that were with me until I was discharged, 1945. So, yes, I had some good buddies.
And I want to offer you belated birthday greetings because I
Thank you.
understand you made it to the century mark.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you had some other vets come and visit you and celebrate that with you earlier this past summer.
My daughter made a big deal of it. They had a real big deal.
But Joe, it is a big deal. It's a very big deal. So I want to thank you for your service, and I
Thank
want to
you.
thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad that you were here. Thanks much.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you.
Thank you.
Oh, Joe.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to have a member of the American Legion, Shannon Shattuck, Post 182, with me here today. We're celebrating the greatest generation with the Iwo Jima World War II Traveling Museum and our American Legion friends, as well as the Salmon Brook Historical Society and the Friends of the Granby Public Library are hosting this event. So I'm just really excited right now to have with me Navy vet Cliff Burrell. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you here. And we could see by Cliff's hat that he is a member of Post 182, and that is the Shannon Shattuck Post in Granby. And Cliff, how long have you been a member of the American Legion?
25 years now.
That's a long time. And do you have some highlights of your time with the Legion? Is there anything you'd like to share about?
Well, I think part of what we try to do is honor the veterans of the past, especially the Iwo Jima World War II, and the event that you guys have sponsored. It was very enlightening today to see family and friends share their experiences, whether they're dad or grandparents, and as several veterans that actually served came today. So it was an experience, I think, for all of us, especially myself. I was in the service from 75 to 82, and a couple of captains that I served under are older gentlemen, obviously, that had served during that time. But the wisdom and knowledge, the greatest generation, it's good for us to bring them to the forefront now and then. they've sort of been forgotten, and the wisdom and knowledge that they still have. So the trailer that has been outside showing different things, it's been wonderful today to see these people and to acknowledge what they've done for the United States.
Yeah, it's been a really remarkable program that we've had. I'm excited to have them here. And while Cliff was talking, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but Cliff has the American Legion Riders patch on his vest, as well as some other insignia. And can you tell me a little bit about what the Riders did earlier today?
We escorted the Iwo Jima Traveling Museum into Granby, honoring, once again, the veterans that had served, and making sure that the people that had put this on that we were showing our respect for the organization and the new, I guess every year they change up this traveling museum, and we thought that it's very important that we escort them into town and show them the proper respect.
Yeah, and it was pretty special. I was able to watch when they arrived earlier today, and it was wonderful to see the automobiles and the bikes just escorting the trailer into the municipal complex here at Granby. So Cliff, is there anything else you would like to share with us about what the Legion does for the community, other than helping with hosting these types of programs?
Well, we obviously focus on veterans, and if we notice or we find out there's any need in Granby, whether it be raking leaves or helping somebody obtain help in any way or another, we try to respond to that. We also try to educate, the children in school, whether it be Korea, Vietnam, World War II. Some of that has disappeared. I mean, the history that we were taught as children probably isn't covered quite as much. So part of our mission is to do that, to honor the veterans, and then also make sure that our history isn't forgotten. It's part of the foundation of the United States. It's a solid foundation that we don't want to lose sight of.
Well, I'm very thrilled that the Legion is here and active in this community, and I think if people are interested in the Post 182, Shannon Shattuck Post 182, they can find you on
our website, and there's Facebook. We have a Facebook page that we're opening back up, and absolutely for sure, if there's somebody in need, whether it be somebody that served or a surviving spouse, they just need to call us and we'll help in any way that we can. We have resources that spread out all over the place.
Excellent.
So.
Excellent. Well, I am, again, just thrilled that we were able to put this program together today. It was wonderful to have you here and be a really integral part of hosting this event. And I look forward to having you back again and doing it again. And so thank you very much. And thank you for your service with the before, then, now. It's just...
Thank you. It's an honor. Being part of Granby, Connecticut, this kind of thing makes it such a special place, and I'm an honor to be part of it.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it very much so. So welcome. We're here with another American Legion member from the Shannon Shattuck Post 182 in Granby, Connecticut. And this time we're welcoming Robert Groper, who is with the 101st Airborne Division in the Army. And Bob, tell us a little bit about when you served. How was that?
I went in 1969, and I got out in 1971.
Okay.
Actually, out of the Army. But I went to Vietnam in September of 1969, and I got back out in September of 1970. So I was over there 1 year with the infantry division of the 101st Airborne. We served in I Corps, and that's the very top part of South Vietnam. And I carried the M60 machine gun, and not much else to tell except for I made it through it.
Congratulations, and we're
you.
glad that you're here. And
Yeah.
we're doubly glad because today we were able to co-host a program with the Iwo Jima World War II Traveling
Yes.
Museum. So it was a combined effort with the American Legion Post 182, the Salmon Brook Historical Society, and the Friends of Granby Public Library. So we were able to bring the museum here to town, and our American Legion friends were very helpful. And you were one of the riders or the drivers who helped with the escort earlier
Yeah,
today.
we did, and there was quite a few of us there, and this moving trailer that Gary has is just an amazing thing to have, especially when the World War II people come.
Exactly. So we have a lot of vets who came through today, and a lot of the community members who showed up to go through and learn about the museum and some of the memorabilia that was in there. I also want to point out that the American Legion has a very nice exhibit going on at the library for the month of October too, and I'm sure we'll have it back again. So if you miss it this time out, we'll be sure to have it again. Before we move on a little bit farther here, Bob, I wanted to ask you about some of your other activities that you do with the Legion for the vets. Perhaps you can share a little bit about the vets who turn 100. What happens then?
We just got involved with Gary again, and he found one person that we wanted to go wish him a happy 100th birthday, and we went over to his house. And we made up a big old birthday card and went over there. There's about 8 of us went with the American Legion.
Okay.
And he really enjoyed it. And Gary, as you know, has a World War II helmet in his trailer. And all the old veterans that we visit sign it. And it was a pretty good deal. That this fellow that was here, I forgot his name, he signed it.
Oh, okay.
We were at his house.
Okay.
So we got more coming up. I got a call through the American Legion phone that there's another fella in Simsbury who's 103.
Wow.
And he just had his 103rd birthday, October 8th. And we're going to get together with his family and meet up with them. We're going to initiate it next week.
Okay.
And that'll determine when we're going to meet up with them. But
Okay.
we're going to get another birthday card for him and
That's
go
nice.
down and wish him happy
That's really
birthday.
nice.
Yeah.
It's amazing the longevity of these service folk, and I'm glad that you're able to honor them and to wish them a happy birthday. I think that's wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today about your time with the Legion and what you enjoy most about it?
Just helping people.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Excellent. All right. Well, Bob, thank you for being with
Thank
us
you.
today. We're
Good.
glad to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So welcome. We are back with Gary Roy, who is one of the co-founders of the Iwo Jima World War II Traveling Museum. And Gary, welcome. We were so happy to have you here with your museum today. You and Marianne, your wife, wonderful. We had dozens and dozens and dozens of people going through for the last 4 hours. So it's really been a fantastic opportunity for people to learn about the greatest generation. What prompted you initially to put this museum together and make it a traveling museum?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us here. It was wonderful. This was probably up there with one of our top 2 or 3 ever we've gone out. And the local people who came and the questions they asked and the response was wonderful. We basically started it because we volunteered with World War II veterans for me a little over 20 years, Marianne for 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the group we volunteered with the most in the beginning was World War II veterans. And they always wanted to build a museum, but it was about $500,000. And as time went on, it wasn't so much a raising of money, which might have happened possibly, but having somebody to take care of it and the expense of keeping it going. So one day we were talking about that, and they felt bad that they couldn't share their stories and keep that going to another generation. I said to Mary Ann one night, I said, why don't we do a traveling museum? We use a car trailer. She says, never thought of that. So we started looking it up, and we thought somewhere along the line somebody has done this, but we couldn't find anybody who's done it. So we bought the trailer. We bought a used truck, and we bought the trailer in 2016. And at this point, we were still doing a motorcycle ride in May of every year, and we made a promise at May 16 that we would have it for May 17, 2017. And we didn't realize how hard it was going to be to build it. But we worked on it day and night for months during the winter. We completed it. Wasn't 100% done, but it looked pretty good. And we unveiled it. And we unveiled it by having all the World War II veterans there cut the ribbon, and they were escorted in first. Then the general public could come in. The response was really good. And we started adding to it. We added the lighting. We added more storage. We got the color just right. It is actually a Higgins boat, World War II gray. We started adding more to it, a TV and a DVD to play movies. So we started getting some other requests to go out here and there with it. And it's become really a great passion for us. Everywhere we go, we meet so many great people who either want to get more involved because they have a history of World War II in their family, or they just want to learn more about it. And it's led to us coming to places like this, Granby Library.
Well, we were so happy to have you, and I did have a chance to go through the museum and look at the display, and you've got a bit of everything in there. There are a number of cases with the uniforms and memorabilia and artifacts. You have video and audio. You've added a display case, I understand, that features women's service.
Yeah.
And can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's important. We ended up with a uniform about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, from a Coast Guard, women's Coast Guard uniform from World War II. And we thought, geez, that's really great to have. We want to recognize all the branches of the service in our museum, but to have something that recognizes the Coast Guard, which is a woman's uniform, I see the younger generations come through here, especially young girls, and they look at it, and I explain to them it's a woman's Coast Guard uniform. And then if they start going on their phone and looking up stuff, that makes me feel really good because they're interested. And then this one, I think we just added another uniform in there for this. And I think we'll maybe change that to another location in there, but we're going to try to add, in that one display case, try to define it, make it really nice, and add as much as the women's stuff about World War II as we can, because, basically they're in every branch of the service.
Well, it's a wonderful museum. I know that we had a lot of comments, positive comments from everyone, and we were really thrilled to have vets show up today. Joseph Richard came by today, and we had an opportunity to ask him a few questions and share his experience from Iwo Jima. And now we have someone like you and Mary Ann who are helping to preserve those memories and show us all that memorabilia. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our community about your museum or your other activities that you do with your Legacy Foundation?
Yeah, we did volunteering for so many years, and then I think it was early this year, Mary Ann says, maybe it's the right time to become a nonprofit. And I think what confused everybody was we had so many different names of our volunteers, groups. So World War II Legacy Foundation really explains everything. And by becoming a nonprofit this year, opens the doors up to us to do so many different events, to bring it up to a different level, to be recognized by different groups and everything. And so far it's working out great. We already did 2 events in September. We did a talk about the USS Indianapolis, and it was wonderful. We had a son of a survivor come for that. And then the next day we did a luncheon for World War II vets. And we had 7 of them there. And between them and a couple Vietnam and Korean vets, we gave out 10 quilts of valor. That was a wonderful time. And Mr. Richardson was there with his family. So I think
And I'm going to interrupt. So
Yeah.
Quilts of Valor, tell me how those came about when you.
that is a really, really great, it's a nonprofit nationwide. They started many years ago. I believe they started by making quilts for our servicemen and women injured overseas, Afghanistan, Iraq, and stuff like that. It gave them something from us here in the United States to bring back home with them. So if they're in a hospital over there, if they can get them a quilt, they're bringing something back home. Then they realized that they wanted to start giving them to World War II vets. And we worked a lot with them over the years. And every World War II vet that we knew, we tried to get them that Quilt of Valor. And they're all handmade. They're all made by volunteers. And if they can personalize one for somebody's service, they can, or something else they're interested in. But they're made to use, they're made to get dirty, they're made to wash, and they'll tell you,
Okay.
use them. Don't hang them on the back of a chair and don't use
Right.
them.
Right.
So they're a great, another nonprofit volunteer group, and I think we have maybe 2 or 3 more we're going to try to put them in touch with early next year. And we're just going to keep going. And they do World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, Iraq. They try to give them to all of our veterans.
Wow. Well, I know that there's going to be some information scrolling up on the bottom part of the screen so that if folks have questions or they want to do a little more digging and see more about these organizations that you're involved with, they'll be able to find out more information from that. And I want to thank you again expressly from my heart that you and Marianne have done a fantastic job bringing this information, keeping this legacy alive for the next generations to learn.
Yep.
And it's a phenomenal effort, and I commend you both for pouring your heart and soul into this. So
Well, we thank you for inviting us here. Anytime you want us to come back, just invite us. Just
we'll be
call
happy
us.
to have you again.
Just call us and ask us. We'd be more than happy to come back. And I got to say that overwhelming working with you at the library and working with the American Legion has been wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Well, we're delighted that it's been a wonderful experience for everyone all the way around. We're really, really happy to have you here. So,
Well,
Gary,
thank you very much.
you.
Thank
All
you.
right, you're welcome. So we're back with another one of our American Legion members from the Shannon Shattuck Post 182 here in Granby. And it's an honor to be here with our former representative from the 62nd District. This is Bill Szymanski. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Bill is also a member of the American Legion, and he was a member of the National Guard as well. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that for a minute. How long have you been involved with the American Legion here in Granby?
15 years.
Okay.
And I was always interested. When I was first selectman, they actually had given a painting to the town, and I was there to accept it on their behalf at the Legion Post. And it was like, I was fascinated by seeing it all, and joined shortly thereafter.
Excellent. Oh, well, and they were glad to have you, I'm sure. So the Legion does a lot of good works. I think some don't realize that Granby has a Memorial Day parade, and we have Legion members that support that. They also visit the cemeteries in town, and can you tell me a little bit about what happens there?
Right, right before Memorial Day, our post members, and now with the help of the Boy Scouts, put flags on all the graves of anyone who's served in the military. We do it at all the cemeteries throughout town. There are about 7 of them. And they're there until right after Memorial Day. We take them down probably about 3 weeks later. But it's a good way to honor those who served.
It is, and it's nice to see them there. As a resident of the town, I can tell you that it just gives you a certain amount of pride in your community when you see the military service personnel being honored, so that's thank you for doing that. I also wanted to ask about the flags that are worn or damaged when community members have flags that are worn out. The Legion can help with the proper disposal of those. Can you
Yes.
share a little bit about that?
Sure. Right in front of our Legion post, there's a nice white box, stands about high and about that wide, and people can put used flags in there And then once a year, we do have a memorial ceremony where we actually burn the flags with the proper flag etiquette.
Okay.
And of course, we do sell flags. Usually you'll see us out in front of Geisler's, out in front of Stop and Shop right around Memorial Day, 4th of July. And that's where people can buy the new flags and give us the old ones, and we'll retire them properly.
That's a great service. That's wonderful. Thank you for doing that. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today about?
Well, the Legion also does a scholarship for someone in the high school every year. And we're proud to do that. I had the good fortune of giving it out to some of the students who were recipients. And it's not, a couple of thousand, but it does help them with their tuition and stuff like that. And it's nice to see that someone who is engaged in the community, because the, American Legion is only about veterans. It's about community too. That's one of our outreaches in the community.
That's another great service that the Legion's providing. So I want to thank you for your service in the National Guard, for your service as a representative in the 62nd District, and as your service as a former first selectman here in Granby.
Thank
You've outdone yourself. So
Well, I appreciate
it was
that.
wonderful to have you here with us today at our event that we had, and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.